Good morning, aspirants. It's 12th of November today, and I welcome you all on today's edition of What to Read in the Hindu Newspaper. I'm 𝗗𝗶𝗹𝘆 𝗡𝗏, Senior Mentor at Prepp IAS. While going through the articles, we will not only see its relevance with regard to prelims and mains, but we'll also try interlink it with other GS papers as well. I am here to align your newspaper reading as a part of our GS syllabus. Let's get started. INA not founded by Subhas Bose, he took up the reins only later, claims new textbook. Now, this particular article is very much relevant from our exam perspective because there has always been a debate around revisionist history of Indian National Army and also Indian independence that has been in the news for a while. So, the left-wingers versus the right-wingers have always been in conflict with the role of certain personalities being highlighted more or less in our textbooks with regard to universities and school curriculum. So this is one such important article for it. This will fall under GS paper 1 in modern Indian history, freedom struggles and its leader. Afterwards, for prelims perspective, the arenas that we have to read and revise is about timeline of INA. In 1942, formation under Mohan Singh and revival was under Subhash Chandra Bose in 1943. Afterwards, Azad Hind government and Japanese support during World War II, Bose's role in globalizing India's independence struggle, all these arenas that we have to discuss. And there has always a personality-based questions asked both in prelims and mains. So it could be a very potential article for the day that we have to link for our syllabus with. For mains perspective and other peripheral areas that we can link this is the contrasting INA ideology with Gandhian non-violence. Also the personality with regard to Subhash Chandra Bose versus Gandhiji. Relevance of INA trials in awakening post-war nationalism. Impact of Bose leadership on national identity and military strategy. So this is how holistically this particular article is to be read and revised. The next important article that is there in the paper and is on editorials page, which is relevant for our exam, is about act of evil. So promoting social harmony is integral to any counter-terrorism strategy. So this is relevant for our GS paper 3 under the theme internal security, terrorism and counter-terrorism. The key theme that has been discussed in this particular article is about terrorism targeting national symbols and how India evolved its counter-terror strategy and framework. For prelims, we need to revise provisions of UAPA 1967 and also the recent amendment that has happened. What are the new changes that has been inculcated in it? What is NIA Act and again the recent amendments and institutional mechanism like multi-agency center, that is MAC. Red Fort is seen not only as a symbol of heritage and culture, but also sovereignty and national freedom struggle association as well. So this level of terrorist attack, if it happens in Red Fort, what are the associated challenges and the audacity of planning at that level is to be questioned. The peripheral areas that we can look into similarly, the Khalistani activities just 2 years back, Red Fort attack has again been symbolized there in the capital itself, and cross-border infiltration, need for modern surveillance and cyber intelligence, international cooperation under UNSC. And what is UNSC Resolution 1373? We got to know all these angles while going through this particular article. And that's how we have to unfold every angle for our exam perspective. The next important article that is very much important is about exploited workers, a labor policy, empty promises. Again, that it is relevant with regard to GS paper 2, social justice, labor reforms and welfare schemes. The key theme that has been discussed over here is critique of Shramik Shakti Niti 2025 and the gap between digital innovation and worker right. For prelims perspective, we got to revise new labor code that has been introduced from 2019 to 2020, and their components which has been included in the new labor code, the 3 laws associated with it. We got to revise that. ILO conventions wherein social security code and e-shram portal can be linked. Other peripheral areas that we have to read about is what is gig economy, the contribution of it in the future, the aspects and the rise of it, how are we going to counter it, lack of employer accountability in case of gig worker. We have talked about in one of the economic survey a few years back about feminization of agriculture. Now the feminization of informal work culture is on rise, factors contributing it, and how this could be brought under formal sector wherein certain social security aspects is to be given to women as well. Global comparison with regard to Brazil's gig worker law and EU's platform directive, can that sort of similar arrangement be made in India or not? And what could be the probable and possible best lessons that we can get from them? Afterwards, fishing troubles. This is another important article which we have to read it from today's Hindu newspaper. This is relevant with regard to GS paper 2, international relations and neighborhood policy. For prelims perspective, we got to revise IMBL, that is India-Sri Lanka boundary dispute agreements of 1974 and 76. What is Palk Strait, the geographical location for it and its significance? What is Gulf of Mannar, its geography and associated vegetation, whether endemic or any other new or the native species with regard to it, marine species like sea cucumber and trawl ban issues that has been there. For other peripheral areas, we got to revise such as SDG 14, Sagar Mala, deep ocean missions, humanitarian approach through joint management mechanisms, and also we can even link it with the issues with regard to UN clause, how they resolve and why India Sri Lanka is at conflict when it comes to marine boundary. So this is how this particular article is to be read and revised. The next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention talks about why do astronauts wear a pressurized suit? Now this is relevant for GS paper 3, science and tech, under the theme space missions and human physiology. The key theme that has been discussed in this particular article talks about life support system and physiological safety in outer space. For prelims, we got to revise about principles of pressure, oxygen regulation, radiation shielding. Afterwards, we can link it with our Gaganyaan mission as well. Other peripheral areas that we can read and revise is about DRDO and ISRO collaboration for astronaut health system, international best practices in a form of NASA's EMU and SpaceX Crew Dragon suit, ethics of human exploration beyond Earth can be read and revised. The next important article that is there in the paper and which is very much relevant from our science and tech perspective is about GS paper 3, wherein space tech, research and evolution could be quoted. And the key theme that has been discussed over here is about understanding about the rarity of complex life and the research exploration. For prelims perspective, we got to revise about James Webb telescope and its finding, the key components for it, habitable zone concept, what it is all about, what is biosignature, exoplanet detection methods, how many exoplanets have been detected so far. Other arenas that can be unfolded while going through this particular article is India's growing role in space beyond Earth observation. Then there could be other arenas such as Aditya L1 mission, ExpoSat mission, collaboration with NASA and ESA, then astrochemistry and evolution of life theories that could be a potential question also, and broader debates around science, spirituality, and existential curiosity. This is how this particular article is to be seen from the angles of different paper and different relevant aspects that needs to be covered while going through this particular article. The next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention is about saving endangered species. So there has been a comment made by Supreme Court and that says Imported ideas may not save endangered species. Again, relevant for GS paper 3 under the theme environment, biodiversity and conservation. The key theme that has been discussed over here is context specific conservation, which is blending local wisdom with modern sciences, right? So for prelims perspective, we got to revise Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and which all species have been categorically put into critically endangered, vulnerable, etc. And what is the criteria for designation of certain species in a different category altogether? That also needs to be revised. Afterwards, we got to read about CAMPA, Project Tiger, Project Elephant, and other flagships project that we have launched for conservation of biodiversity altogether. What are eco-sensitive zones, community reserves? Afterwards, the local movement or the people-centric movement that has been launched with government and also at times against government to conserve certain species. For instance, Bishnoi community movement, Niamgiri case can be revised and it could be put as a potential case study and example while quoting for our essay and also as an example. The need for biocultural approach of conservation, environmental ethics in Indian physiology and philosophy. This could be the way wherein this particular article is to be read and revised. The last important article for the day is about ISRO conducts crucial safety test on main parachutes for Gaganyaan crew. Now, relevant for GS paper 3, achievement in Indian space technology and space altogether. The key theme that has been discussed over here is about validation of crew module recovery system that ensures astronaut safety. For prelims perspective, we got to revise the components with regard to crew escape system, parachute deployment stages, Gaganyaan versus previous Indian satellites like GSAT-7R. Other arenas that can be revised is about collaboration with Air Force and Navy for retrieval, global parallels that has been devised so far by NASA, Artemis, SpaceX Crew Dragon, and even this could be linked with future space station ambition of India that we have put forward for us. This is how this particular article is to be read and revised holistically. This is all from my end for today's Hindu newspaper. Till we meet for the next time, take care and goodbye.